Thank you so much for joining us. This is Sahara TV, and with us to speak with us today is the Executive Director of Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC, the Executive Director, Awal Musa Rafsanjani. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much, and good morning.
Comrade Rafsanjani, your recent statement raises serious concern about the Abuja-Kaduna Highway contract. Can you briefly summarize why CISLAC is demanding an investigation into the procurement process?
Thank you very much. As we all know, public procurement in Nigeria has been one of the major sources of corruption. And if you look at the situation before we even have public procurement law, virtually in Nigeria, in every 100 naira, we are actually losing 800 naira. Out of 10 naira, we are using maybe 80% of the money, because sometimes contract will be given and there is no any execution of those contracts. And we have seen it even on the energy and the electricity, where the National Assembly called for public hearing as a result of spending almost $16 billion without having any improvement in the electricity. And the contractors, they came to the National Assembly, and some of them confessed that they never even been to the site. So it has always been the case in Nigeria, and that is why many politicians and corrupt public officials, they are using contract to enrich themselves and undermine development in Nigeria. So in the case of this, Abuja-Kaduna road, as we all know, it has several states that that are using that road, and the first contract that was given, we have seen how it was not only implemented, but there was a delay in carrying out that contract. And again, during Buhari, it was reviewed twice. Yet that work was not actually done. Initially, this contract was given to Julius Berger, and the Julius Berger, according to them, they said that they were not being given money to do that. But the failure of the National Assembly relevant committees to carry out oversight on the award of this contract was a major challenge. Secondly, in Nigeria, many people don't respect the public procurement law.
Yeah.
We have the law which clearly spells how contract should, will be given, but they will be awarding contract to their friends, to their girlfriends, to their boyfriends, to their relatives. At the end of the day, it is Nigerians that suffer deficit in the infrastructure. And the Kaduna Road, also Kaduna Abuja Road, given the importance, the economic importance, and safety protection on that road, it requires that we need to make sure that we did not continue to play with that, because you cannot continue to destroy the life of people. The bandits are taking advantage of the bad road there to actually arrest people, collect money, and do all sorts of things. Secondly, the level of accident that you see on that road, it must definitely raise concern to many Nigerians. Every day there's accident on that road because the road is so dilapidated, so terribly that you cannot actually use that road to travel safely. So we thought that it is important that government, with the controversy that is going on between the Nigerian government and the Julius Berger, there should be proper accountability on what happened. We cannot just simply allow huge amount of money just to be washed like that. Government said that they have revoked that road construction and allegedly awarded to another company.
Yeah.
But there is no compliance with the public procurement law in awarding or even revoking the contract, the existing contract.
Now, let me quickly take you up on the fact of the procurement law. The CISLAC has actually emphasized that the process may have violated Nigeria's procurement laws. What specific aspects of the Public Procurement Act of 2007 do you believe have been ignored in this regard?
Well, if you look at the Public Procurement Act, it spells out how contracts should be given. The bidding itself is not open to Nigerians. There must be, monitors, observers observing the bidding process. Nobody, has observed. Nobody can tell you these are the companies that have qualified, and on the basis of the competency, on the basis of the track record, on the basis of the financial capacity, on the basis of competitive bidding, they are chosen. So that is a gross violent violation of the public procurement law, because it says that the public procurement cannot happen without even non-state actors observing, and there was no any non-state actors that observe the process of that lead to even award of that document. The bidding was not even done transparently, so they just decide to give a particular company, and that is not what the public procurement law says. There must be competitive bidding, and there must be compliance and adherence to the public procurement provisions. This is not done.
Okay. Now, you mentioned that lack of transparency in procurement undermines Nigeria's development. Can you elaborate on how such practices hinder progress and public trust?
So the lack of transparency in the public procurement definitely continue to undermine development, sustainable development in Nigeria. Whereas the law is very clear, this process must be an open process. You cannot, it's not like the security or the military equipment where you will say, oh, this is going to be, exclusive, you will not disclose. This is not road, construction road is not a military, it's not a security issue. So you cannot hide under that cover to make the process to be, non-transparent. Again, we all know that as a result of this non-transparent process, many companies will get away with their shady deal with awarding agency of government. And because the process is also not observed and monitored and oversighted by the National Assembly, again, it is likely to be compromised. The media, the journalists that are supposed to also monitor this are excluded in this whole process. So I think there are many reasons why procurement in Nigeria are not succeeding, because of this selfish interest, and because in the first place it is not meant to carry out the work. It is purely to siphon that money, because we have seen so many contracts that have been given money is given and the project are abandoned. If you look at what is going on in the country across this 36 states and the federal, is that you have a lot of abandoned projects. A lot of money have been spent to start up the project, and then at halfway they abandon the thing, and that is not really good. And that's why we have thousands of abandoned projects in Nigeria. What if you harness those projects will have helped to re-energize the economy, and we need to stop wasting public taxpayers' money. So everyone will wake up to initiate a gigantic project that you cannot finish in 1 year or 2 years. And because there's no national rolling plan, that we work on with, in Nigeria, unlike before where, this project is going to take 5 years. So you will be making, a regular allocation of resources that will enable us to do the work. But what the current politicians are doing is to just give out the project, take the money, and they don't care whether the project is done or is not done, because the purpose is not to do the project. The purpose is to siphon public taxpayers' money. And that's why you see many states, are initiating projects, they abandon them, and, because that's the easy way. So every state want to do bridge. Every state, they don't even think on actually investing in the economy to make the economy more stronger in their state, because the interest is not really to be patient to develop the economy, blueprint, and manufacturing industry. No industrialization agenda in many of the states that we have in this country.
Now, let's ask, what role do you see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu playing in addressing these procurement concerns and ensuring accountability, sir?
Well, the President Tinubu has to understand that we have the public procurement law, and many of these projects, if they are carried out well, he will take credit, especially the federal projects. He will take the credit that it is during his time that this project has been, have been done. But if he continues with his team to do business as usual, just to use the so-called project and take up money for the for campaign or for personal arrangement, then definitely that will not be good, his for good history for him, or good thing that people can always make reference to. So I think Bola Tinubu has opportunity. He's already a rich man, so he should close the gap and block the leakages. If he said he doesn't need Nigerian money, like he said it several times, it is an opportunity to also stop his, team, his, allied or his appointee from siphoning public taxpayers' money. If he can go with that principle, I think a lot of Nigerians will actually salute him, because since he said he doesn't need Nigerian money, in other words, he will not steal Nigerian money. So if you cannot steal Nigerian money, then make sure that your allied, your appointees, your minister, then also steal the Nigerian money. But we had this kind of scenario with Buhari. Buhari claimed that he is not there to steal money, but now you see many of his, team members are being questioned, allegation of looting, stealing, misappropriation. So if Tinubu will come out clean to say, look, I am not going to steal public money, and I want to make sure that I deliver my promises. You, as my ministers, as directors, as government officials, you must also do what I want to do by ensuring that I shun this looting and corruption. But if you keep quiet and then the looting is going on, you should know that you are actually also are not going to exonerate yourself. Just like the electricity issue with the Mambila thing. Now, when we were telling Buhari to be, observing and monitoring and questioning his ministers, he felt we are insulting him. Now they drag him to arbitrary court. The same thing was Obasanjo. So one day, we will reach a stage whereby if as a public official you think you are untouchable, definitely you will be touched if you don't do the right thing. So it is in your interest to be transparent, accountable, and responsible, and make sure that the team you have, they are not robbers, they are not armed robbers, they are not people who are pretending to come for service but end up stealing public resources.
Now, CISLAC has called for reforms in Nigeria's procurement processes. How does CISLAC plans to ensure that its demand for an investigation and reforms are acted upon? And will you be collaborating with any specific agencies or stakeholders?
So right from the beginning, before we had the public procurement in 2007, CISLAC was the main organization that advocated for the passage of the public procurement law. And when Eradoa came, the first assignment he did was to sign into law the public procurement that was passed by the National Assembly. CISLAC before then had engaged the National Assembly, engaged the media, engaged civil society, engaged the contractors to make them understand why we need to have public procurement, because it helps in terms of sanitizing and ensuring that there's a money for value, there's a value for money in the project that we're executing. And we succeeded in getting that law passed, and we also assisted the Bureau of Public Procurement with education, enlightenment, awareness to various, our stakeholders. And therefore, we felt it is absolutely necessary that we continue to ensure that we draw the attention of government to ensure that the law is not actually abused, is not undermined. Because if you continue to undermine the law, we'll come back to the same yesterday where we are losing every 100 naira, we will probably lose 90% of that money in the project, like it's been testified and seen in many places. You give contract, the contract is not even done at all. Yet you did not fear God, you do not fear the law of the land. So we need to have a reforms in the current even public procurement law that we have to make it much more difficult for people to siphon public taxpayers' money, to abuse the procurement law, and to ensure that there is a penalty and sanction against anybody that undermines or that violated public procurement law. That is why we are calling for reforms. And we are lucky that the Director General that has been appointed by President Tinubu, Mr. Debo, as a DG of Public Procurement, he has been there right from due process. We've been working with him from due process, before even the public procurement law was done. And he served as executive assistant to Engineer Eze Emeka, for several years when he was the DG Public Procurement. So he knows in and out of the procurement, process and from the due process to the now Bureau of Public Procurement. So we expect him to continue to use his experiences and knowledge and skill to ensure that and insist that ministries and agencies must follow the procurement law. And it is only through that actually we can benefit from his past experience in the whole process of procurement in Nigeria. So I'm hoping that the Director General of Bureau of Public Procurement, he will do the needful. Secondly, do you know that up to now, we have the Public Procurement Council has not been inaugurated. So what the federal executive does is to simply sit down and be awarding contract. It's not their business to do that. We have mentioned this during Buhari. Throughout Buhari period, they sit down and be awarding contract, and no follow-up to ensure that this project are done, this contract are executed according to the terms and reference. And now Tinubu is also doing the same thing. So that is why we say there must be adherence to public procurement law. The council is responsible for all those, but now they have decided to take that as part of their duty, which is not supposed to do, because a lot of conflict of interest. Now, as I speak to you, a lot of members of the National Assembly, we got complaints, allegation of them influencing contracts, allegation, that they got ministries and parastatal to be influencing who is going to be the contractor and what have you. We need to limit your work as a legislator, as a lawmaker, to the work of the National Assembly, not to come and be meddling on what the executive will be doing or what even the contractor will be doing. The same thing also with several, chief executives. Now they don't even issue the tender. They just arrange and don't give it to themselves. This cannot sustain us if we want to be more transparent. And Nigeria has signed to so many, principles of openness, like we are signatory to the Open Government Partnership. We are doing a lot, even with the procurement in the EITI, in the extractive sector. There are so many commitments that Nigeria has signed, and it must be seen to be compliant and abiding by it. Otherwise, we will not be respected by the international community. And that is one of the major ways in which you can actually minimize the corruption that we see in Nigeria. Hospitals have dilapidated, schools have dilapidated, roads have dilapidated. Nothing that was in public space that has not been destroyed by some wicked public official. So we need to do everything possible to revive our country and put confidence on the citizen that our public officials are not looters, are not stealing, are not diverting the funds, but they are there to do the service as they promise to do. If you want to be a contractor, why do you need to come and contest election and go and be meddling on what you are not supposed to do? If you want to, as a governor, if you want to be a contractor, stay away. Go and do business. Why should you come and use your powers as an executive governor or as a legislator or as even a president to come and be doing contract? That's not your business.
Comrade Awal Musa Rasajani, the Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC. Thank you so much for your insightful perspective. We appreciate you for coming out on Sahara TV today.
Thank you.